After World War II, America had established itself as the dominant power in global politics, but the ongoing conflict with Iran has shaken that foundation to its core. Today, the U.S. finds itself almost isolated and vulnerable on the global stage. Donald Trump made a serious effort to form an international military alliance to lift Iran's blockade in the Strait of Hormuz and protect American commercial ships, but he ended up facing humiliating rejection even from his closest allies. Meanwhile, Iran is relying on its powerful defense systems in this conflict. After losing ground, the desperate U.S. removed the Thdr system from South Korea, and meanwhile, North Korea dealt America a dangerous checkmate, trapping the U.S. badly in its own pride. Welcome everyone to today's episode, where we'll take a close look at how China and North Korea's checkmate strategy is outsmarting the U.S. from a historical and geopolitical perspective. When you look back, South Korea and Japan haven't just been military partners for the U.S. for decades. They've basically become modern military colonies. Japan's surrender in World War II and the aftermath of the Korean War have left these two Asian powers completely dependent on Washington for their security. The U.S. has pledged to defend them and has stationed huge military bases and advanced nuclear shields there. Of course, this security doesn't come for free. South Korea and Japan have been paying billions of dollars every year under the name of host nation support to maintain the American military presence. It's a situation where the U.S. keeps its troops stationed on foreign soil. The entire financial burden is dumped on those countries. Although America calls it a security necessity, in reality, it's a form of strategic slavery where those countries lose the right to build their own independent military. But the current Iran-America conflict has shattered this illusion of military colonies and exposed a harsh truth to the world. When America got stuck in the Middle East war quagmire, it pushed the security of its loyal allies, Japan and South Korea, to a lower priority and started pulling its advanced weapons and defense systems out from there, heading now to the Middle East. The deployment of Thdr is causing tension. The transfer of Thdr is a strategic move and one of the most irritating and controversial aspects of the current security crisis rocking the Asia-Pacific region. This advanced American system, considered the backbone of South Korea's security, is not just a defensive weapon, but also a strong symbol of Washington's security guarantee to Seoul. Often compared to the Russian S-400 system, Thdr identifies potential medium and long-range ballistic missiles coming from North Korea in the upper atmosphere. It has the capability to destroy. But recently, during the Madhi-Nebapur festival, when Iran and its proxy groups started launching missile attacks on American military bases and the security situation there began to spiral out of control, the U.S. made a harsh and self-serving decision that South Korea saw as a major strategic betrayal. After Iran destroyed defense systems in the Gulf region, the Pentagon suddenly pulled the Thdr batteries stationed in South Korea and moved them to West Asia. This way, the defense systems deployed in South Korea, the only reason for moving to the Middle East was to protect their soldiers from Iran's missile attacks. This move has left South Korea's skies unprotected for the first time. Neighboring North Korea is always threatening with missiles, and taking away South Korea's most reliable defense system in such a sensitive situation where war could break out any time is seen as a betrayal by the South Korean people. This step of the U.S. shows that when it comes to global management, it prioritizes its own military interests over the security of its allied nations. Immediate needs come first. When South Korea deployed Thdr, it faced tough economic and diplomatic sanctions from China. But now, when the U.S. is taking back that same system during a crisis, Seoul feels like it's been used and tossed aside like junk. This strategic betrayal raises a big question. If the U.S. can remove its security assets anytime it wants, then why should it expect billions of dollars in host nation support? The gap in South Korea's defense system caused by the absence of Thdr isn't just a problem for North Korea, but also for China. This is a golden opportunity to increase their influence in the region. Right now, the US has left South Korea hanging on the edge of a crisis while trying to put out the fire in the Middle East. For Kim Jong-un, the strategic tension created by the US removing its THAAD defense system from South Korea is an unprecedented chance. After years of North Korea being overshadowed by joint US-South Korean military exercises, now they have a prime opportunity to establish full dominance in the area. Since Donald Trump's second term began, Kim Jong-un, who used to seem somewhat calm, has now re-emerged on the world stage as an aggressive and undefeated force. When the US tried to put out the fire in the Middle East by using Asia as a security shield, Kim immediately activated his missile units. At the same time, he launched multiple ballistic missiles towards Sea of Japan, not only showing off his military strength, but also exposing to the world how hollow America's security guarantees really are. These missile launches occurred near Japan's exclusive economic zone and close to South Korea's waters. They've caused quite a stir. The impact isn't just physical explosions, it's also created deep psychological fear in the people of South Korea and Japan. The missiles Kim Jong-un launched send a clear and strong message to Washington. If the US has left East Asia open because of the war in the Middle East, now North Korea will be the one calling the shots in East Asia. Right now, North Korea isn't just a regional power. They have intercontinental missiles capable of striking the US mainland. North Korea has established themselves as a decisive nuclear power with ballistic missile capabilities. The tensions brewing in Japan have seriously impacted global maritime trade and airspace. Kim Jong-un's aggressive approach shows that he's no longer waiting around for any diplomatic deals or sanctions. He smartly exploited the US's security concerns to build his image as the strongman in the region. Until recently, Trump claimed he had Kim under control, but now Kim's missiles have proven otherwise. Claims have just been blown out of proportion. For South Korea and Japan, North Korean missiles have become a harsh reality they can't stop. Neither do they have the tech for it, nor does their ally, the US, seem fully backing them right now. Ultimately, Kim Jong-un's rise has pushed the Asia-Pacific region to the edge of a new and uncertain war, where even a small strategic mistake could drag the whole world into destruction. The invisible hand and tag team tactics behind North Korea's increasing aggression and the looming threat over Japan aren't just about Kim Jong-un's personal obsession. There's more going on beneath the surface. China has a deep and hidden strategic hand in all this. Right now, China is using North Korea as a strategic pawn, skillfully keeping the US tangled up in the Asia-Pacific region. Geopolitical experts call this the tag team strategy, where two enemy nations team up to keep a common enemy busy on different fronts. When Donald Trump started prioritizing a war with Iran and began pulling missile defense systems out of South Korea, China gave North Korea the green light to get aggressive. They showed the flack. China's main goal is to split America's focus and military resources between the Middle East and the Far East, so it can establish its dominance in Asia. Right now, China surrounding Taiwan and North Korea scaring Japan are two sides of the same big strategic strategy. When North Korea fires missiles and creates security fears in South Korea and Japan, the US is forced to send its troops and systems like THAAD back to Asia. If the US brings its military back to East Asia, its grip on Iran will weaken. If nothing changes, China risks taking full control over Taiwan, and North Korea poses a threat to shifting the security balance in the region. This is a strategic checkmate move by China that's pushing the US into a major strategic dilemma, no matter which way it turns. China isn't just using North Korea as a security shield, but also as a weapon to undermine American global influence. The economic and diplomatic support China quietly provides behind the scenes to North Korea's nuclear and missile programs is what gives Kim Jong-un the boldness to act so confidently. This has been provided. The tag team strategy of China and North Korea against the US is turning out to be very costly, because the security guarantees it gave to its allied nations have completely failed. In fact, China's invisible hand is keeping the U.S. tied up in the Middle East conflict, allowing China to strengthen its grip in East Asia. Japan and South Korea's attempts to break away are just the result of the distrust created by the sudden shift in America's strategic interests and stance, forcing Japan and South Korea to rethink their security policies. Instead, it's forced these countries to look for a new exit ramp, a way out. For decades, they've relied on Washington as their only source of security, but now they're realizing that the promises and commitments of a superpower can be sacrificed any time for another regional war. In South Korea, there's a heated debate right now. If the U.S. can remove South Korea's security system to protect its own troops, then Seoul should either develop its own nuclear weapons or at least drastically reduce its dependence on America.